Good morning, everyone. Our topic for today is about Spanish heritage. So, first, Christianity. If the Spaniards had not come and colonized our country in the 16th century, we would have been a Muslim country like Indonesia and Malaysia. Spanish missionaries who came to the Philippines, especially in the 16th and 17th centuries, were really zealous soldiers of Christ. Zealous means masigasig. So sa Christianity, yung Bible was banned at that time. Catholics during the Spanish era, hindi nila ina-allowed or magbasa ng Bible. Yung pari lang dapat daw ang pwedeng gumawa. Having a Bible was considered a criminal offense and the person with a Bible could be put in jail. Second, hospitals and orphanage. Orphans and hopeless children did not wander around. They were cared for in special orphanage and asylums. We have two of the oldest existing hospitals in Asia. First, Hospital of San Juan de Dios. Si Fray Juan Clemente ang nag-establish ng hospital noong 1577. A year later, it was turned into Hospitals de Santa Ana, located near San Francisco Church. It was not until 1656 when it was renamed Hospital de San Juan de Dios. Second, San Lorenzo Hospital was founded in 1577 by Fray Juan Clemente as a dispensary in the walled city of Intramuros. So, ang inaano ng hospital na to ay for the people of the settlement suffering from leprosy and other diseases. Hospitals in Manila such as Los Baños, Cebu, Cavite, and Lawag. Third, diet and dress. Diet. The simple diet and dress of the early Filipinos were also changed and improved by the Spaniards. Spain introduced new food plants like corn, potatoes, coffee, cacao, cabbage, guavas, and wheat. Filipinos learned to eat bread and drink coffee and chocolate. Other new foods, beef, mutton, sausage, ham, and sardinas. From other parts of Europe came imported canned goods like Corrillos del Bilbao, olive oil, and pickles. Dress for men. Jacket and bahag replaced by western coat and trouser. We call the western coat as Americana because it was introduced by the American Spaniards from Mexico, began to wear hats instead of putong. Putong, which means crown. Use slippers and shoes for footwear. Dress for human. Instead of sarong, they wear saya, skirt, and the kamisa, blouse. Sarong, wrap around their waist. They learned to wear hair combs and handkerchief. They still wear jewelry but gave up wearing armlets and anklets. Instead of barefoot, everyone started wearing slippers and shoes. Family life. Early Filipinos killed unwanted babies or married many wives. These practices were stopped during the Spanish era. So, tinatawag silang unite of society because with simple and wholesome. The father was the master of the family, head of the household, and breadwinner of the family. The mother was the first tutor of the children, in charge of the daily chores and children. Chores, which means routine tasks. Meron din silang problems tulad sa atin gaya ng family expenses, the children's educations, and there were a few broken families. It considered a scandal to come from a broken home. Because of Christianity was a good influence on the family life because parents and children pray together. Parents spend time with their children. In return, children obeyed and respected their parents. Sign of respect for parents or sa nakakatanda, children kissed their hands and said, "Mano po." Filipino human. If single, The human were chaperoned, which means matandang kasama ng dalaga. Hindi sila nag-aaral dun para maging professional teacher, doctor, criminology, engineer. Nag-aaral sila dun para maging mabuting asawa at nanay. Young women entered the nunnery and become nuns. Yung nunnery, which means kumbento ng mga madre, and nuns, madre. The new calendar. Date similar in Europe. Until that time, our calendar had been one day behind the European time. So, yung Tuesday, pinalitan nila ng Wednesday. According to Governor General Narciso Claveria, corrected the Philippine calendar. Spanish surnames for Filipino by Governor General Narciso Claveria, issued an order on November 21, 1849, which gave Spanish surnames to the Filipino families. Filipinos become converted to Catholicism. Kapag may event na nagaganap gaya ng a boy baptized on the feast day of Saint Gregory, kaya siya pinangalan ng Gregorio. A girl baptized on the feast day of Saint Anne was called Anna. But this practice was so confusing because family ties could not be known. So there was a need to add surnames to the first name. So by Governor General Claveria, he solved this problem through ordered all Filipino families to choose a surname from a catalog sent to all provinces in the country. Yung ibang Filipino did not follow this catalog. They just add a native family name to their names. For example, Dr. Jose Rizal's family adopted Rizal as surname. The name Rizal comes from the Rizal, which means green field. Latin alphabet and Spanish language. Filipinos easily adopted Latin alphabet and Spanish language. Enrich our national language called Filipino. There are 5,000 Spanish words in our national language. Latin Americans, Mexicans, Peruvians, and Argentinians. Latin America, a region with 300 million people. Next, printing books and newspapers. Asian Filipinos wrote on wood, barks, or leaves of trees, and other flimsy materials. Printing books and newspapers are important because people learn a lot of reading. Early Spanish colonizers and missionaries studied and wrote about our culture in books. The first Filipino printer ay si Thomas Pinpin. Tinatawag siyang Prince of Filipino Printers. He wrote the first Tagalog book published entitled Librong Pag-aaralan ng mga Tagalog ng Kwisyang Kastilya. In English, Reference Book for the Tagalogs for Learning Spanish Language in 1610. Next, literature was religious and tough lessons about good and evil. Other types of literature for the masses were awits and corridos, means stories about knights, heroes, or legend. Most of the reading materials were Florante at Laura, a story of love and adventures of a hero named Florante. So, masterpiece of Francisco Baltazar, tinatawag siyang the Prince of Tagalog Poets. Balagtasan, the modern Tagalog poetical was named in his honor. Biyag ni Lamang, popularized by Pedro Bocaneg, a blind poet known to be the father of Ilocano literature. We have three greatest Filipino poets in Spanish. First, Cecilio Apostol. Second, Fernando Guerrero. And lastly, Jose Palma. Jose Palma, he wrote the original lyrics of the Philippine national anthem. And Dr. Jose Rizal wrote in Spanish his two books, which is No Limitang Here and El Filibusterismo. These two books helped to bring down the Spanish regime. Next, theater. We have two kinds of play, which is cenaculo and moro-moro. First, cenaculo. Religious play about the life and sufferings of Christ, means the place where Jesus and his disciples celebrated the Last Supper. Second, moro-moro. An adventurous play featuring fights between Christians and Muslims. It means ungrateful despite being poor and miserable. Pero dito, laging panalo ang Christians in the end. Next, music. The Philippine National Anthem composed by Julian Felipe show similarity to the Spanish national anthem. Spanish influenced Filipino dancers like Cariñosa, Pandango, and the Jota. Polka, Lancero, Waltz were originally European dances. Next, instrument. The violin, flute, piano, guitar, and other musical instruments came from Mexico and Europe. Filipinos made replicas of the foreign instruments using bamboos. They called musikong bu o bamboo musician. Next, painting. Damian Domingo, the father of Filipino painting, he also founded the first school of painting at Manila in 1822. Two greatest Filipino painters, Juan Luna was a Filipino painter, sculptor, and a political activist of the Philippine Revolution during the late 19th century. He became one of the first recognized Philippine artists. Felix Hidalgo, he is acknowledged as one of the greatest Filipino painters of the late 19th century. Next, Spanish blood. Spanish-Filipino marriage improved the Filipino racial stock by assimilating Spanish traits like religious devotion, delicadeza, it means honor, romanticism, loyalty to family, and urbanize, it means good manners. Mestizas were noted for their beauty and charm. We have we have two classes of foreigners, which is peninsulars and insulars. Peninsulars, it means felt superior to others. Came from Spain to live and work in the Philippines. Insulars, born and bred in the Philippines.